I was riding the ZR, and we had to take a trail to get back to where we were riding. So we get on the trail, and there was a bunch of humps, and this suspension was already kind of mushy because I don't know when it's been last rebuilt because I just got it this season. So the suspension was really squishy, and I hammered it over a couple of humps, and we hit hard. So and then my suspension, I really realized I needed to have the shocks sent out and rebuilt. So yeah, I don't know when these have ever been rebuilt, so I guess I'm just going to work on taking the carriage out today. Alright, so the first thing you need to do to take out the carriage is there's going to be a bolt just like this on that side, but with this spacer like that. So you simply screw it out and don't mess with this bolt, because it'll keep your right tension. So you can compare your tension and make sure it's correct when you do this to get like a good reading. And if you mess with this, it's not the end of the world. You're just gonna have to readjust your track, and it'll be kind of a pain. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this one out as well, and then we're gonna move to the skid bolts, and we're gonna kind of keep it on its side, and we're gonna try to swing it out like this and pull the skid out. So yeah, and the only tool you really need for this whole skid, I think, is 9/16. But if I run into anything else, I'll let you guys know. This is my first skid I've ever done. But yeah, 9/16. So yeah, all right. So now that I've got these two bolts out, and I kind of made these the same, so like the track will be aligned straight. So that's about where they were too, and then I can tighten it or loosen it for like whatever I need. Anyways, and then so for the track, I guess we'll just try to make sure we get the bogey wheels pushed up as far so we got like as much play in the track as we can get. So then next, same really 9/16, just no really extenders. And we're gonna pull out the bolts right here on either side, so then we can swing it out. And then I guess we'll take out those two too. There's one on either side of these. But you don't need to take out like the cogs or anything, because we're just pulling the skid to rebuild the suspension. So this isn't that hard of a job. So for my next thing, I took out those two bolts right there. I always use a little bit of penetrating oil to help. And I found it's easier to use a longer socket wrench to do these ones to break them loose. And then I pulled out the bottom two and I slid it out here. So now I'm going to take out the other two. And see how there's a lot of room right here and the track's really loose? I'm hoping the skid will just lift right out, because I've been told by some people that this is an easier way than putting them straight up and down on the lift. So yeah, I'm going to do that, and then I'll get back to you guys in the next video. So we got the other two front bolts out, and I kind of just been taking my time. We probably could have done this faster, but we've been taking our time and trying to do this slow and right. So we got those two bolts out, so now there's these two bolts in front are gone, and it's always a good idea to put them on the little lock nut that they were on and put on the washers in the order they go to make sure you know what you're doing then. So pretty much the next step is we're going to lift the skid out. So now we have a lot of like I guess loose track, a lot of play. So this should lift out pretty easily. I mean, maybe it'd be hard for one person, but there it goes. So, as you can see, this might be a little bit of a hassle for one person, but might look funny. Here we go. Because should be a little bit. There we go. So I guess you want to pull it out pretty far like this to get it loose enough. And pretty much just kind of mess with it until you get it. Alright, so Sorry my video cut out, but my card was full, so I had to unload some crap out of it. But pretty much right as I was pulling it out at the end, I pulled out the skid. I got the back out and then I pulled the front right out, but the camera died just in time. So I guess we got the skid, we've got it down in the house where it's a little bit warmer, and we're going to start pulling out both shocks to send them out and have them rebuilt. So one way to know that your shocks are bad is, well, first you'll be riding and they'll seem really soft, but that's not good. That's way too soft. You shouldn't be able to do that with your hand and just push the whole thing down. So yeah, and then this one's not as bad, but I mean, sometimes you push it down and it won't come all the way back up or whatever. So yeah, they're kind of gone. I don't know when they've last been rebuilt because this is the first year I've had the sled. But it's always a good idea to, once you have the skid out, check over for bearings and probably grease everything, because you got these little grease fittings all along the shafts. Here, can you bring it over? Mm-hmm. So you got these little grease fittings right here, and some more over here, all over. So yeah, just look around for those or get a book that says where they are. And it's always a good idea to grease those. So then, to check the bearings, you're going to want to try to wiggle them side to side, and you're going to want to spin them. And these are all pretty good, but these are an example of a bad one. They don't wiggle too much side to side, but you can't even get them to spin at all. So this one's not quite as bad, but it's not great. These probably need to be replaced. So sorry, that was my friend's phone. These aren't bad either. They're just resting on the cooler. But this might look like it's bad because it wiggles a little bit, but really this just needs to be tightened. So that should take the wiggle out of that. And then you want to check for your slides and see how they look. Pretty much you want to change them when they're getting thin, and it's easier to do it with the whole suspension out. So yeah, like I said, I don't know when the shocks have last been rebuilt, so I'm sending them out to Gas Shock Repair, and there will be a link in the description. But pretty much they're out of Idaho, and they do the shocks for like, I think the guy quoted me $104 if I don't need parts and stuff. You got to pay to ship them out to Idaho and ship them back, but it's pretty much the cheapest place I've found. So if you know of any better, cheaper places, leave it in the comments. So a couple quick other things about your suspension. So a regular spark plug wrench is what you use to adjust it for stiffness. So you're going to want to put it on this like that, and then use a ratchet and turn this, and this block's got different height on each side. So this is 150 and below. This is 150 to 170 if you turn it that way, and this is 200 pounds and above. So yeah, I've got it on the softest setting right now. So yeah, I guess we'll get the shocks pulled out, and pretty much all we got to do is take a 9/16 wrench and socket, and we got to start unbolting crap. So yeah, nothing really too hard here. I guess we'll need a wrench on both sides for this one because there's not enough room between the idler wheels. But yeah, we're just going to start unbolting these. And things that'll make your shock repair cost more is like if the rods have pits in them, if they're pitted. Like, so instead of rusting, because they're constantly being worked through oil, they don't show rust, but they'll have little pits and spots where the rust chips would be, where it's kind of eating away at the metal. So you once you have your shocks out, you can look over them for pits, and the guy will tell you if you need pits or not, or if you have pits and you need new rods or not. And that'll get a little bit more expensive, but I'm hoping I don't have any pitted rods, but nothing really you can do about it. So yeah, we'll start unbolting stuff.